don't lose hope. There will be darkness, but following the darkness is an indescribable light. Okay, now I'm going to tell you the final piece of today's conversation. I do always save the best for last. You know, there's that saying, it's darkest before dawn. Well, it's darkest actually just before the great solar flash, just before Ascension. It literally, and in today's conversation, figuratively, gets very, very dark before the great solar flash and before we hit Ascension. So this is going to take you, this conversation, to an outcome. The outcome it's going to lead you to is hope. Hope in where you are, in where humanity is going, and maybe also some realistic preparation. More than just hope. Let's be real. I don't want to paint a pretty picture and have nothing to substantiate it, because then as time goes on, you're going to go, oh no, Kerry lied to me. She told me it was going to be all rosy and beautiful, and here I am facing darkness. So I'm going to be very real with you today, but it's not going to lead you into a state of despair. Although I'm going to be damn honest and tell you, listen, the darkness is still coming. So let me get into it. There was a recent video that I put up here on YouTube. The video is called What Happens at Ascension, and in it I detail what happens at the point, at the exact solar flash. And although I did answer it in the video, a lot of you didn't watch the video because you asked in the comment section, how do you know this? The answer that I put there, and I'll repeat here, is because I remember it. But I'm repeating this for a very important reason, because there's a part of the memory of Ascension that I didn't share with you in that previous video that I want to go into here. And that is the darkness before the dawn in its twofold context. Today's the perfect day, right? Look at it behind me. Do you know that this is not nightfall? Look how dark that is. This is a middle of the day, but it's a rainy, blustering, wintry day. It is gray outside. And I looked at this rainy, cold, dark day and I thought, this is the day that I talked to you about the darkness before the dawn, and specifically the 3 days of darkness before Ascension. I had a memory, but it was way more than a memory. See, a memory, you think of a memory as something that you lived through in the past. So it's not an imagining, it's something that you experienced and you're replaying it, you're remembering it. So what I had was a memory of the future, but let me go into this in a bit more detail here. I was given in 2016 a memory of Ascension, which means I was granted an access to a future time. And I'm going to talk more about this in an upcoming video about how we're actually all from the future, but I digress. I don't want to go there quite yet. I got a little fast forward in time, and the fast forward brought me into the Ascension point. I became aware of the atmosphere, meaning the air around me being just weirdly different. And it was dark, kind of like it is behind me right now, but not nightfall, not pitch black. It was just darker, much darker than usual. Then I noticed very strange streams of light, what I can best describe as a light stream or a stream of light. They were different hues, but they were all very pastel-y, mint green, soft pinks, baby blues. And I thought, wow, it was very dreamlike, but so surreal is the word, but real. And I wasn't the only one. There were a lot of people out on the streets going, what the heck? There were people going, oh, this is the end times. Big fear mongering was happening. Big arguments were happening. People were unsettled, quite rightly so, because nobody had an answer as to what was going on. Of course, as you would expect, this is humanity we're dealing with. There were always going to be those who would try to instill fear in others, go home and repent, that kind of thing. And then there was a couple of us who were walking around almost with a sense of calm, peace, knowing, and it was kind of erupting from within me. It was the knowing. I knew what this was. I knew we're on the brink now. We're on the brink of Ascension. And I looked up at the sun. Remember, this is a memory of the future. I looked up at the sun, and the sun was in the process of, this is how I want to describe it, drawing its light into itself, which I would describe as a great inhalation, a great in-breath. So imagine the sun absorbing its own light to the point that the surface of the sun looks weirdly dim, which is why the light around us was so dark that day. And there was this looming feeling. There was this looming feeling like anticipation, something was about to burst, something was about to happen. Yes, there were people looting, but not really a lot. And I live in South Africa. For those of you who don't know, we're like the looting capital of the world. So that was a big surprise. I think most people were in a state of confusion, and there was a knowing. This is beyond where the brain can go. This carried on for what I think was 3 days. And I'm saying to you, I think it was 3 days, because the whole thing took place for me perhaps in a matter of hours. So this was fast forwarded. That's the best way I can say it. So as I'm going through the memory, I'm living through it real time, but there are many portions of it that are fast forwarded, because obviously we needed to condense a couple of days worth of information into a couple of hours. By the way, once I'd gone through the Ascension events, this is something I didn't share in the previous video. Once I'd gone through the Ascension, which was absolutely rapturous, absolutely no words. There will never ever be words to describe the relief, the love, the joy, the peace, the fulfillment, the ease, the heaven, the beauty, the absolute beauty of that moment. And at the beauty of that moment, I was given a choice. And the choice was, do you want to go back? Do you want to go back? Because in the darkness that had preceded Ascension, not just the 3 days of darkness, but the years prior and the months prior and the weeks prior to that big build-up, humanity had derailed so completely, so properly. So you're going to look at humanity now and you're going to go, oh, Kerry, we're there, baby. They are derailing. Have you seen the way people bully each other, treat each other, speak to each other, judge each other, condemn? Have you seen that? You're going to tell me we're there. We're in the darkness. And I'm going to say to you, actually, it got a whole lot worse. Those who were lost. And what I mean by lost is lost connection to their love, to their heart, to their humanity, to their honesty, to their integrity, to their general goodness. They lost themselves and the connection to their divinity. Those people became ever more lost, ever more depraved, where a person is acting out just in a way that is not, it's not only unbecoming, it's not who they are. You know them and they're acting in a way that is so out of character. A person who was once perhaps kind, or a person who was once perhaps a very decent person, just turning, just becoming almost the exact opposite, and you could see it in their eyes. There were people who were almost seething. Victimhood, holy guacadoodles, victimhood was crazy, because there's a lot of that at the moment, right? Some of you listening might go, yeah, that's me. I know you guys can fall in there from time to time, but the victimhood and this desire to make someone punishable, to make somebody guilty of an offense if you had endured something difficult, those in the darkness were there. They wanted to punish, lash out, and they felt such a sense of self-righteousness in their condemnation and judgment. So you can see it now. You can say, well, cancel culture's doing that, where people kind of just, that they might take away the livelihood of another person and just feel vindicated, like it's their right, they're meant to do it, because perhaps another person has a, whatever it is, a political viewpoint or a stance, a scientific viewpoint that they disagree with. So you might say, well, that's already happening. Okay, yeah, I agree with you. But it was happening en masse. That people were turning against people. Family members were turning against family members. And what happened is the divide within humanity became, the split within humanity became so evident that there were those who were just radiating love. And it was so. There were those that you walked past in the street and you didn't need to say a word. You just got the glow. You got the glow. You got the love. You got the smile. You got the gentleness from them. The communication was non-verbal but obvious. As obvious was those who were in their darkness. Right now, it's not as obvious. Right now, you got people that you don't really know which side of the fence are you on. Why? Because we were all conditioned to the false matrix, born to the false matrix, which was a lot about wearing a mask, portraying a certain behavior, having humanity see you in a certain light. So we were very much conditioned to not show the real self. But in this time just before Ascension, oh no, yeah, it was undeniable. People couldn't hide even if they wanted to. Even if they wanted to put their best foot forward and create a good impression of themselves, they just couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. They would get frustrated about something and just lash out. So it was more and more evident. Ooh, baby, the rain is coming down now, so I do hope it's not creating any noise disturbance. Let me keep going. As the Ascension event came, as much as there were those 3 days of darkness, there was a wash of light. At the solar flash, there was a wash of light on 2 levels. There was an internal wash of light. There was, of course, an external wash of light. I won't repeat what I put in the first video where I described the bubble that emanates from you and how that protects you, creates a force field around you. The love that occurs when your guides meet, greet, and touch you cannot be spoken into words. Equally, listen to what I'm going to share with you now. Equally, what cannot be spoken into words, because of the rapturous love and joy, there are no words for this, was the elation that we felt, those who were ascending, the elation we felt when we realized that within our guides were those who we had so-called lost. Perhaps a parent, perhaps a lover, perhaps a best friend. Many of us, perhaps a child, many of us have had people in our lives who have exited our lives and we miss them and long for them. And there at the Ascension point, I don't want to say to you the veil is thin. There is no veil, which means there's no separation between what we would call a light body and our physical body, because we're all coming into the same bandwidth. That's what happens at Ascension. So you start speaking to them. See, they're as real as you are. They're as physical as you are. They're as flesh as you are, right there in that bubble, in the Ascension wave. And I want you to do this. I want you to not lose hope, because you're going to have every reason to lose hope. You're going to have every reason to look at humanity and go, my gosh, what is going on with these people? You're going to have every reason. Someone's going to cut you off in traffic. Someone's going to misjudge you and call you names that you know that you are not. One of the things that I see so often in the spiritual community, finger in the face, ego. It's like there's this addiction to calling somebody out. Why? What is that about? Even if, let's just say, your ego is showing. If I wagged my finger in your face and I went, oh, your ego, what's that going to do? It's going to make you defensive. It's going to make you feel stupid. It's going to make you feel small. It's going to put you into a state of needing to defend yourself against what I'm saying. It would be counterproductive is the point that I'm making. If you were in your ego, do you know what the best remedy would be for me to offer you? Would be to show you love. Just to show you true love, because that's what melts the ego. Not the shaming, not the naming, not the condemning. But again, right, those are the two factions that we're going to see humanity step into. Those are the two modes of being. So you're going to have every reason to go, the darkness is rising. Mental illness, guys, is going to rise. People losing their faculties. People losing their temper. People losing their goodness. People losing themselves. The darkness is going to rise. It's going to escalate. Don't lose hope. Don't think, oh my gosh, we are headed for the tubes and it's going to be a long downward spiral. Don't go there. Don't go there. Keep seeing what you're being shown. But where is the light, guys? Where is the light? Because the darkness is going to become, for want of a better word, illuminated. The darkness is going to be made visible. Again, for want of a better word, the darkness is going to be bright. Right there, highlighted. Light's going to be the same. But will you have the eyes to see? Will you have the heart? Will you have the expansive heart to not lose hope? To not get jaded and cynical? My gosh, don't go into the victimhood, guys. That is the road that is one of the hardest. When I look back and I saw the people who were not making it through the ascension, and there were many. There were many. What I noticed was a common thread in those who were exiting the planet, because I got, as much as I got moments that were fast forwarded, I also got moments that were slow motion, because it allowed me not just to witness my own ascension, but to witness humanity's ascension. There was, of course, an important reason, which is because I could bring this back to you and share it with you now. And I haven't. I've been sitting with this for many, many years. And I have, by the way, shared it with my online community before, but only with them. And I think it was call, I could be wrong, call 34, maybe. We're in call 120. So it was quite a while ago. I shared this with my online community, but nonetheless was a very, very powerful call. But I feel called now to talk to you about it a whole lot more. Does that mean ascension is imminent? Yeah, sure it is. But what is imminent? Literally, I don't know. Literally, I'm not supposed to tell you. You guys ask me in every comment section of every video. I say the same thing. I don't know. I'm not meant to know. You're not meant to know. That will be the most counterproductive thing. Not going to explain it again. Been through it so many times. It doesn't matter. What matters is, can you get into the here and now, into your power, out of your victimhood, connect to the light that you are. Now listen up. The month that's ahead of us, so that's the month of June. You could be watching this in 6 months' time, so wherever you are in time. The month ahead of us is June 2023, and in the month of June, in my online community, we're going to be dealing with something very important, and that is life beyond the veil. The veil is the place that the false matrix kept us inside of. That was the veil of restriction, limitation, constriction. That's what, at the point of ascension, you feel yourself so like you've walked through it. You've walked through that veil. It isn't there anymore. And I'm not going to repeat what I've said in previous videos about the veil. The veil's collapsed already. We just keep plastering it back up again, because habit, emotional patterns, memory will keep doing that. The ascension wave is that point that the memory isn't able to even conjure or reconjure that veil. Nonetheless, I digress. The month of June is all about stepping beyond the veil. Why? Because it's time now for us to stop focusing on the darkness. It's time for us to start focusing on the light. Who are you as a light being? Who are you as consciousness? Who are you as soul? Who are you as divinity? Can you breathe it in, let it in, and let the expansiveness of that permeate right through you, so that you don't land up in a waiting zone, waiting for ascension to happen, waiting for 5D, for somebody. It's kind of like waiting for a wand, somebody to wave a magic wand totally outside of your control. That's a ridiculous way to live. When personal ascension is the process of expanding into the truth of who you are in the here and the now, as if nothing else matters. That's the journey. And it is a journey. It's not, you're not going to step in there in one day. It's a journey. That's what my online community is devoted and dedicated to. It's what the month of June is devoted and dedicated to. Those of you who are called to join, join. Those of you who are going to say to me, I'm not quite ready yet, honor yourself for where you are. I'm only opening the door for you to walk in as far as you want to go, as you are ready. Don't lose hope. There will be darkness, but following the darkness is an indescribable light. When, okay, now I'm going to tell you the final piece of today's conversation. I do always save the best for last. When we walked out of the bubble that I described in the previous video, what happens at the point of ascension, when we walked out of the bubble, we walked into Eden. We walked into Eden. We walked into paradise. We walked into, a lot of you will call it New Earth, True Earth. We walked into Eden. The surface of the planet had been remade. No pollution, no plastic, no homes that we remember. And yet, part of being in that bubble, that infinite timelessness that I described in the previous video, part of being in that bubble is that everything comes into alignment and is restructured, including your body, including the home that is in the best environment for you, the best home for you. All of that takes place when you are in that healing zone of ascension. You walk out of that bubble into, do you see? They just aren't words. Even the word Eden, even the word paradise, it's so small and empty compared to the fullness and the joy that you walk out into. It's the most wondrous experience, and everything in you is going to know, this is what I came for. This is it. This is what I came for. And you are reunited with those who you're meant to be reunited with your children, your family, your animals, your pets. Because a lot of you guys ask me that. I mean, this to me, and I mean this with all due respect to you who've asked me this question. This is a crazy question. People say, what happens to my pets? What happens to my children? Do you know why it's crazy? Because what do you think's going to happen when the universe of love is taking creation back? What do you think's going to happen to the innocent ones? Protection, love, reunion. They will be cared for beyond anything you can imagine. My children were right there with me. That bubble that you're in is huge, huge. My husband was there. My children were there. Their crews, my crew. We had a whole big family reunion. We had loved ones that had come in to be with us. It was a big family affair. We're so not used to, this is the craziness, guys. We're so not used to being loved. We're so not used to the idea of harmony. We're so not used to innocent ones being protected and being cared for. So I get why you guys have asked me this question. What happens? And it's with such concern, you know, what happens to our loved ones? They go with you. What happens to the children? What happens to the animals? They go with you. Will they have a hard time? Hell no. They're closer to love than you are. They're closer to God than you are. You know, this is all pre-decided before birth. The children tend, by the way, to go with the adult, with the parent who holds the highest frequency, because it's easy for them to transition into higher frequency. But you got to trust love, goodness, harmony, the universe, and yourself above all else, and your divinity above all else. Does anybody walk out of that bubble and go, oh no, that's impossible? That healing bubble that you're in the ascension window, in the flesh itself, all of the healing takes place in there. That when you do walk out of it, you walk out whole, and you walk out with wisdom, and you walk out with understanding, and then a new journey begins. And no, it's not that we now, you know, have nothing to grow into, nothing to evolve into. We just now going to have a whole new experience of life without the contrast, the push-pull, the negatives and positives, the duality that we once knew. So in other words, we're going to have way more harmony, and that's going to take some time to acclimate to. So when I was given the choice, and the choice was, Kerry, do you want to go back? Do you want to go back? Here you are. You've ascended. Woohoo, baby, it's done. Do you want to go back to 2016 and then walk through the rest of your life to the ascension point? Because you don't have to. There you go. You've done it. You don't have to. I was given that option, and I obviously chose to come back for many reasons. My children, I was not even a possibility, not even a chance in hell that I was going to leave my children to walk through this window. I knew that we would all be reunited at Ascension, but still, that wasn't an option for me. And for the joy of being able to share this with you, I came back so that I could bring the memory of home, literally. The home that lives inside of you, that becomes physical and manifest at the Ascension point. I chose to bring it back. There will be darkness, and you will be okay, because your light protects you. This is it from my heart, all the way into yours. I do hope you let it in. I do hope that you feel it. Bye bye for now, everyone.